Let's give a big hand to Edgar Award-winning novelist William Kent Krueger.
Well, thanks everyone for being here this evening, and what an honor it is to have been asked to be a part of the centennial celebration for Simon & Schuster. I am so honored to share the stage with so many illustrious authors. And I got to share this with you. Not 15 minutes ago, Doris Kearns Goodwin showed me the way to the bathroom. That's going to make it into my memoir if I ever write one. So it seems to me we should never underestimate the impact that the stories we read to our children might have on them. Their influence can last a lifetime. That's certainly true for me. A book that was read to me as a child and that was published by Simon & Schuster to this day affects how I approach storytelling. Now, when I do a book event, one of the questions I love to ask an audience is, what was the first book that made a difference in your life? What was the first book that opened you to the power of story? And I get a wide range of responses and often some wonderfully surprising answers. And after I have heard what they have to say, I tell them what that book was for me. Now, it's kind of an odd little book, but I think when I explain it to you, you'll understand its importance to me, particularly in my development as a storyteller. So this is what I say. Back in the early 1940s, Simon & Schuster began putting out a line of books that were meant for very young readers. They were called the Little Golden Books. You all remember the Little Golden Books, right? Yeah. So there was one book in that series that was a particular favorite of mine and my brothers and my sister. It was called The Happy Family. It was one of those books where the title said it all. It was about this impossibly happy family. There was a mother and a father. They had a little boy and a little girl, a cat and a dog. They lived in this nice little suburban tract house, and they drove, I swear to God, a station wagon. You know, in truth, not much happens in the Happy Family. There's a birthday party that they hold in the backyard, and a little bit later they go for a beach outing. And about the most exciting thing that happens across the course of the story is some ants try to get at the birthday cake in the backyard. Yeah, in terms of what we think of as compelling plot, it's about as insipid as you could get. So, why did my brothers and my sister and I clamor for our father to read that book to us night after night? Well, honestly, if he'd read it the way it was written, we'd have grown tired of it pretty quickly. But my father never did that. He would read the first few lines as they were written on the page, and then he would go off on his own, and God alone knew where we'd end up. So, for example, those ants that try to get at the birthday cake in the backyard. In my father's telling of that tale, those were just regular ants. Those were giant ants. And they weren't just after the birthday cake. They were after the happy family. And that beach outing that they go to later where the waves lap gently against the shoreline. And my father's telling, those became tidal waves, and they swept up the happy family, and the happy family had to fight for their lives. And always one of my favorite parts of the book was the ending. The story as it's written, I believe, ends something like this. And Father turned out the light and said, "Good night, sleep tight, don't let the bedbugs bite." My father never ended the story that way. In his ending, it would go something like this. And Father turned out the light and said, "Good night, sleep tight, don't let the bedbugs bite." But when he came to wake the children in the morning, the bedbugs had gobbled them all up. So what's my point? My point is simply this, that what I learned from my father's reading of that Little Golden Book, or probably more appropriately his non-reading of that Little Golden Book, was that a story once begun can go anywhere. You're limited only by the reach of your own imagination. Thank you very much, and God bless Simon & Schuster.